Hey y'all, welcome to the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda, the podcast where guests will share information and research on self-love, living a wellness-filled life, how to heal from traumatic events, and more. This podcast is sponsored by Healing Hearts and Minds Publishing, LLC, a new company that publishes books that promote self-love, healthy relationships, avoidance of unhealthy relationships, and much, much more. Check out their first publication, Unhealthy Relationships, Let's Stop the Madness, a guide for those in unhealthy relationships and for those who want to help them. Written by first-time author and co-host of the Healing Space Live and Online, Roxanne Elizabeth Epperson. Visit Amazon.com to purchase the paperback or ebook. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. Today we're going to do part 2 of an episode we did about 2 weeks ago. It's called Love Language. So we're going to do our take of love language, and this is Love Language part 2. So we have 2 couples that we're going to ask a couple questions to, and we're just going to have a dialogue and just have fun talking to these young folks. So we'll turn it over to Rhonda right now.
All right. Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. So glad that you are here. Thank you so much for agreeing to be our guest this evening on Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. We're really pleased to our listening audience, whether you are listening in Pittsburgh, whether you are listening in Massachusetts, California, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and so many other cities that we have heard from. We are so glad to have you here. And to our regular Pittsburgh listeners, we give a shout out to you.
Hey.
Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for listening to us. And don't forget, spread the word. We want to grow even more every week. So this evening, we're going to introduce to you Kayla and Jalen Thomas, Winter and Cameron Clay. And we're going to have, as Roxanne said, just a candid conversation. And this is our twist on the love language. We know people use that to mean, say, what is your love language? And, you know, for some, love language is, when my boo gives me a massage and I didn't have to ask for it. Yes. You know, some love language is when he wakes me up with breakfast in bed. You know, so we know there's a little twist on it, because we're going to use it as a conversation piece. And we're going to just have some different words, some phrases that we're going to throw out here and ask. And please know that we're not looking for scientific research. If you know a stat that you know is really a statistic and you share it, that's fine. But we're not looking for statistics and scientific and research. We're not opposed to that, but we really want to have a candid conversation. So you don't have to feel like, should I say this part or that part? It's not about that today at all. So we're just going to kick it off, and we're going to start with the men folk first. So we're going to go to Cameron, and then we'll go to Jalen. And then the first comment or the first phrase we're going to talk about is this. Does it take vulnerability to be courageous, or do you have to first have courage to be vulnerable? And we're asking this. Let me just insert. We are talking specifically about couples and intimate relationships in this conversation. Yet we know when we're talking about vulnerability and courage and a lot of the other phrases we're going to talk about, it could also apply to a mother-child, father-child relationship, an employer-employee, because, you know, sometimes I have to be courageous at work, and that may be vulnerable. You know, there's some things I've had to say that I'm like, oh, I'm glad I still got a paycheck. So, you know, we know it can spread to other arenas, but our focus tonight is on relationships. As Jalen and Cameron get ready to come to us, please remember that Roxanne and I, our passion, our heart is always around safe relationships, because we know that in our society, our country, the world, that there is a lot of intimate partner violence and domestic violence. We will always give you a number. We'll be giving you a number or two during this podcast as well. So we're talking today about relationships. And Jalen, I gave you a few minutes to think about it. Are you ready? Courageous or vulnerability? What would you say about that? What comes first?
Courageous about, I think, man, that's tough because I'm thinking to myself that I'm often vulnerable because I'm secure. So maybe I would say courageous. It takes courage to be vulnerable.
Okay.
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that it does take courage to be vulnerable. Because I think most people's thoughts are, I believe, is that you'll be rejected for being vulnerable. But in my experience, it's actually been the opposite. That when you're vulnerable, it actually liberates people to be vulnerable with you.
Okay, thank you. So you say courageous to be vulnerable. Thank you. Mr. Clay, Cameron, what do you think about that? Not about Jalen's response. What is your response?
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually, I agree completely. I think that it's not that you don't need vulnerability in order to be courageous. I just think that in a lot of ways, it has a lot to do with your environment. And we just live in a time in a society where vulnerability is kind of frowned upon, right? And it's kind of the fake it till you make it, or put your best foot forward, whether it's for social media or for group settings, social settings. So I think that it's a little bit easier to lean on courage than it is on vulnerability. So I think that it really requires you to be courageous to take that leap to be vulnerable, especially in marriage and in relationships in general. I think it's easy to step into relationships trying to depend heavily on your courage, but it takes a whole lot of courage to walk into a relationship and lean on vulnerability.
Thank you. And now we go to the ladies, to the wives. Winter, we'll start with you, and then we will go to Kayla.
Nice. So the same question?
Yes, thank you. Want me to repeat it?
No. I'm just making sure. So I agree. I think it takes courage to be vulnerable, because especially just lived experiences in life, sometimes we hold records of wrongs, and you have to kind of give people that clean slate to be able to be vulnerable and that trust. And I think that takes a lot of courage to be able to say, hey, despite my lived experience, I'm going to allow myself to be vulnerable in front of this person. Also understanding that this person is a human being that very well may disappoint. We are famous for delivering disappointment in general because we're imperfect. So I think it takes a lot of courage and a lot of love.
Oh, thank you, Winter. Added love to that. We're going to talk a little more about love as we move on, but I thank you that you put love in with vulnerability. Thank you so much. Miss Kayla.
Yeah, thank you. So I think similar to what all of the other ladies and gentlemen have said, that it does take courage. I think similar to how Winter and like your previous experience always particularly will dictate how you go into the next. And when we've had disappointment, we've had failed relationships, we've had times where you've been hurt, it's easy to automatically go into a situation and want someone to earn that trust and earn that vulnerability. I think there's a space for that, right? We don't want to just go in, laying all things out. We want that to be a process, but I think even opening up to that process takes a lot of courage.
Thank you, everyone. So rare that we have 100% agreement. So thank you. I really have to say that when Roxanne and I had this discussion, we led into a little more looking up the definition for vulnerability and what it really, the dictionary says about it. Because I don't follow zodiac signs at all. That's not who I am. And when you read things, it still makes you go, well, let me just insert this because we told you this is candid. How about on one show, I cannot give credit because I don't know if it was a morning show, a nighttime talk show, but on the show just this week, I was listening to the guest, and whoever the guest was stated that one of their first jobs was writing zodiac signs. And they literally, how they write up the little thing. And his job was to write them, and he just made them up. And I was like, oh, wow. Now, I really didn't.
I knew it.
Can we say that again?
No, I mean, I just guessed that someone just made it up. So I didn't actually know that, but I had an inclination.
Winter, me too, but now he confirmed it. And this is some celebrity. I don't remember, like I said, was it, what's those people in the morning? Kelly and Ryan, or was it Steve Cordone, however you say his name, in the nighttime show? But one of them shows just had a celebrity on the set. His first job was writing them, and he just wrote them up like that. But anyhow, one of the things I will say is that I know for me, my sign says Cancer the crab, so it goes by the crab and the whole shell thing. I know that it takes me a lot of courage to become vulnerable because I will go in that shell in a minute. I guess it's really a part of insecurity within relationships, but I'll go in that shell in a minute, and it takes a lot of courage. And Winter, again, I thank you for saying in love, because I probably got to really feel the love before I get to come out that shell, and be vulnerable with something. So thank you all for that so much. All righty. So
I just wanted to go ahead and read the definition again, because I'm still confused a little bit about the definition and the way people answer it. I don't know why my brain is just not computing because it says that it means that one is easily hurt or harmed physically, mentally, or emotionally. And that's the definition of it, but the way people are using it, I'm just a little confused. But I was vulnerable in my I'm not anymore, because I'm not going to be easily hurt, harmed, or abused emotionally. Been there, done that. So I just I just don't understand the definition of the word in our context. That's what we were discussing last week, and that's why I brought it up. But I just love everybody's answers, and I got to get back to, we haven't done any IG posts in a long time because we lost our volunteer. Not her life, but she's just overwhelmed right now in school full time and all this other stuff. So but courage, that's going to be a post. We need to create a post around that word, because it came up with all of you, and I love it. So yeah. Okay, go ahead, Rhonda.
All right. This next question, comment, phrase is a 4-part phrase, right? So Winter, we'll start with you, and we'll do couples this time. Winter, and then Cameron, and then Kayla, and then Jalen. So just together. This is really, again, about a personal opinion. Now, because you all are married, the first part is the chase. Well, y'all been chased, all right? Y'all chased and got caught. So just thinking, though, overall about relationships, what do you like? What is like motivating to you when you think about it? Because there's different phases in relationships, right? So the chase is kind of like texting each other, or, I don't know where this rule came from. There's all kind of rules, but when you give somebody your phone number as a single person, you have to wait. What was it? 3 days, right? Because
Yeah. If they call you the next day, you might need to run away because he's too anxious. He's gonna be smothering you.
Yeah,
that's how we used to think.
Exactly.
I'm out the game. That's glad I'm out the game.
I know that's right.
I don't know none of those rules. If I wait 3 days, it's over.
Hey, you got to remember, Rod and I got you guys by a couple years. This is the way it used to be. I'm sure the rules have changed.
We the microwave society. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, what if he don't call the next day? Then he really ain't worth it. Then okay, move on. Okay, I guess I don't know.
That was the thing. Hey. So we're talking about the overall in a relationship, and when you think about them in the beginning, what do you like? Do you like the chase? Do you like the dating part where we're going out, doing the fancy? We're going to restaurants. Still, when we're dressing up, we're not coming out in our sweats and sneakers unless we're going on that kind of date. Or is it the commitment part? Now we're exclusive, we're one-on-one, and now we've made that commitment to one another. Or do you like it in a relationship when you're at the comfortable phase? There's no putting on, we're not sending the brochure anymore. We've torn the brochure up. We can just be our real selves now. That's what we're referring to as the comfort phase. So what do you think in a relationship? And you all have to all think back a little bit. But what do you think in relationships? That, is it the chase? Is it the dating? And we're going to Mr. and Miss Clay first. Is it the comfort zone? What do you think about that?
I definitely do not enjoy the chasing part. Dating part, I think that my answer is multifaceted only because I know what my flesh would want and I know what my spirit would want. And what I mean by that is that the dating part is fleshy, right? Like I like the whole going out. I like the thought of being creative and doing something fun and with being without the children, all of those things. But I also know that the commitment part, and the way that I think about the commitment part is that, like, no matter what bumps in the road we have, that I'm committed. Like, this is not a contractual relationship. I'm not leaving. We're one, like, forever. So in my head, that's where all the growth happens. That's where you build character. And so I think that for my spirit, I know that's good for my spirit. That's good for just self-reflection. There's a lot of growth that happens with me just individually whenever, you're challenged in marriage or in relationships. And so I think those parts are really, really special to me from like a flesh standpoint and a spirit standpoint. And then the comfort, I think everyone likes to be comfortable, but it's nice for a moment. But for me, it's like, okay, where's the growth? Like, I'm always looking to grow. So after being comfortable, I'm like, all right, we're stagnant. Like, what's next? So that's my multifaceted answer.
Thank
It was a
you.
good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think for me, it really boils down to like your definitions, right? So I'm kind of going based off of the definitions that you gave. And I really feel like if you're doing it right, then it's all four. Like, I feel like if you're really approaching your relationship the right way, then you're always going to have the spontaneity of the chase, right? And that's something that I learned from my wife, is like the importance of that surprise factor and just kind of the excitement factor that comes in that chase phase. So I think that that's important. I think that the dating is extremely important, especially once you're married. Like, you have to still set aside that time where you're just working on the still continuously getting to know each other, because, like, yes, you're married, you know each other, but you're constantly evolving, right? So you got to continue to like get to know each other and the new version of your spouse, and how that last season that you guys came through, how it impacted and changed each of you, and kind of go through that dating phase to like talk about those things and enjoy, looking nice for each other and going out and enjoying that time. You know what I mean? And then the commitment, that's, as she put it, like, that's the work. Like, that's the side of marriage that I think, and the side of relationships, it's not exclusive to marriage, right? That's the side of relationships that I think we just grossly undervalue and just kind of assume that strong relationships just happen because it's two people or a group of people who just, they don't rub each other the wrong way. They don't really, it doesn't really require much effort. It just kind of falls into place. And there's no relationship that flows like that. There's no healthy relationship that flows that way. And then the comfort is extremely important, because you want to get to a place as quickly as possible. At least I know I do. In every relationship, I want to get to a place as quickly as possible where my true self is valued and understood, right? So I don't want the brochure version of any relationship. I feel like it's like the biggest waste of time is the brochure, right? Send me on the trip. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let me get there. Let me put my feet in the sand. Let me understand what's going on here. So I think that my favorite is like the combination of the four and learning the different seasons and stages of the relationship and what needs to be kind of the priority for that moment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I actually like that, because then that sounds like an evolving thing where like you said, you evolve, and then you kind of have to chase that and get to know that new person in a sense that's evolved. And then, you commit, you work through those problems or whatever, and then you get comfortable, and then you chase again. So kind of like, yeah. So it's a good way to explain it.
A healthy, what's that? The honeymoon phase, but with all healthy pieces on it.
Yeah.
The cycle. Yeah. We need to come up with some words for that cycle. I like that. Probably
I like
just what
that
you
as well.
said. the 4 things you just mentioned, that would be perfect. That's a perfect cycle.
Like a little roadmap.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you. I like that very much. Hey, Jalen, you ready to jump in?
Okay, I was just commenting saying that was good at Reflect. Cam said you can go first, baby.
Okay. Cam took my answer. I knew he would, but I'm going to expand that, and I'm going to do it 2-parted. In my single phase, I enjoyed being courted. I enjoyed chase because I was the center of attention, right? Like typically, in our society, the male does the majority of the work, and so that was always exciting. But as I matured and got older and knew what I wanted, that became less appealing. And in marriage, it is the most rewarding. It's not the most. One of the exciting pieces that I think makes our marriage really healthy is that we do continue that on as much as possible. We continuously date. We continuously take that time to make sure that we're keeping things fresh. And so I don't miss that. Gratefully, I don't miss that part. I get the best of those worlds, right? Where I have a commitment with my husband that I undoubtedly know that we have. Like it's strong, and that I don't have that. Is he with someone else? Am I doing enough to be chased? Am I doing enough to keep his attention? So I love that I have that comfortability where I can walk around and not be cute. I can walk around and be myself, and he might joke and be like, go get your feet done or whatever. But I know that at the end of the day, he's going to be there and he's going to be like, come here, let me clip your toenails. Like whatever it is, we have that level of comfortability. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put it on, I'm going to put my heels and I'm going to walk out like I'm a single woman, but knowing that I have a man that is committed to me and keeping that spark alive and chasing him as well in the way of how I present myself and how I, do little things to keep him intrigued because men are visual. So I love that marriage provides all 4 of those pieces, right, of the puzzle.
Thank you, Kayla.
Good.
Thank you.
That was really good. You and Cam, y'all on fire.
Yeah, I've been all of y'all. This is great.
Yeah, they on fire. I don't even know if I want to speak. I don't even know if I can talk that up, honestly. I want to make sure I understand. So it's the chase. Do I enjoy the chase, comfort, commitment? Is that right? The most?
Well, the dating was number 2. So chase is number 1. Dating is number 2. The commitment is 3, and comfort is 4.
And which one I enjoy the most right now? Okay. Yeah. Previously. Yeah. So I think along the lines of what Kayla and Cam said, and I'll just try to reiterate in my own words. I think when it comes to marriage, you have to have the chase, because the funny thing is when you get married, it ain't just like, oh, we married now, happily ever after. We could just chill, everything over. It's like, no, now that you're married, the real work begins. And for me, I enjoy going after what I want. I enjoy having purpose. So the part of the chase of going after Kayla, I'm like, okay, I know what I desire our relationship to be. What can I do? What's in my power to achieve that? Right. So for me, it's the chase is getting her flowers, texting her good notes, giving her massages, just doing all those sweet romantic things to be like, yeah, like it's my love for you is never cooling down, and to be on guard against it, because it can easily happen. Work. We got a little one coming that can overtake. There's so much stuff that can get in the way and block you from chasing the person you love. And then when dating is all, I feel like personally, Cam said, like, I don't want the brochure. I want the real thing. Like I want the trip. And when it came to like dating before, it was superficial. I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, but now it's a deeper sense. Like it's more romantic and more intimate now, because I know her more versus when I first started dating her. Because when I first started dating, I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was just infatuated, like, oh, she looks so good. Like, I can't wait to kiss her. Like, all these things. And now it's like, man, like, she seen me cry and she supported me through that. Or I've seen her go through this hard thing and I supported her through that. And I'm still like, she still look good. I just still want to kiss her. But the feelings it's much more deeper than I think the superficial dating in the very beginning, where now like the dating is just like, it's just a ton of fun and you don't have to put on a face. So it makes it better. And then it was comfort, right? In marriage. Yeah, I think,
Or just in general.
just in general. Yeah. I think comfort gives you, it's like the atmosphere to grow trust and love, like having that comfort to be myself. And I think that like earlier you were talking about the definition of vulnerability. I think maybe a better word would be like weakness, to be able to show you my weaknesses. I think that's what people are trying to communicate better. Is like, hey, I was weak in front of this person, whether it be weak in my financials, weak in my mental, weak in my spiritual. I was weak emotionally. I was emotionally naked in front of this person. So I think comfort plays a big part in that. Like it's so great. And it's such a great feeling to be able to be emotionally vulnerable and naked in front of my wife and be like, hey, this is where I'm at right now. Like, I'm not doing good right now, versus having to put on a show. So comfort is extremely important. And I can't remember the last one. What's the last one?
Which one do you like the most?
Which one I like the most? I enjoy them all. Probably the comfort, though. I think the comfort is the one I enjoy the most.
Well, you guys were great. I tell you, hey, Rhonda, I think this is a perfect time for you to share with the world who our sponsor is. And once you get finished sharing that, I will share the phone number unless you've pulled it up. Did you get it?
I did.
Okay, cool.
All righty. So thank you. So Roxanne and I are so proud that we have our second sponsor. Our first sponsor was Roxanne's business. So this is our first true paid sponsor. Yes. Go Chats, Roxanne and Rhonda. So Lutheran Settlement House is a bilingual domestic violence program out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They offer a hotline service, and we will give you their number. They talk about and help you understand what is abuse in relationships, a plethora of resources. They have counseling for children and community education and training. They also will help you with housing and education. And one of my favorite parts of their program, I think they're all very important, but it's their MAP, M-A-P, Masculinity Action Project. They have a program where men come in and they do a lot of volunteer work, and they're just really in a healthy space. When you look at domestic violence, intimate partner violence, there's a lot of work to be done, and men, healthy men, have a very important role in that as well. So shout out to Lutheran Settlement House. Thank you so much to Vashti Bledsoe, their new chief. She got promoted, Roxanne.
Oh, wow.
Of the program. So really, really pleased for them. And their hotline number, if anyone listening in the Philadelphia area, their hotline number is 215-426-6810. Again, Philadelphia area code 215-426-6810. And the extension is 1227. So if you need that, please do. And this gives me the opportunity to give you the national hotline number for domestic violence, which is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. SAFE. So certainly, if you need those numbers, do not be afraid. Do not be shy. Take your time for you. Reach out and give those hotlines a call. So thank you, Lutheran Settlement House.
Thank you, Lutheran Settlement House. And I can tell you what, Miss Rhonda, if we need to brainstorm on a males program where these two males are talking to the males, because you guys are right on point, okay? And we need everybody to hear this type of communication. So I'm going to be heavily promoting this episode.
I agree with you so much, Roxanne.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something. I know that, Jalen, I'm sorry, you might not know this person, but you might, I'm not sure. But Kayla, Winter, and Cameron are all familiar with Elder Whiteley, Elder Thaler. And unfortunately, his beloved wife, has transitioned on to heaven. And about a year ago, actually. But I remember I was over their house one time years ago. At this point in time, Thaler, and her name was Kathy, but he always referred to her by her full name of Catherine. So I remember being over there, and Thaler, and I always called him Uncle T. But Uncle T said, "You know what, Rhonda? I love my wife. After all these years, 20 years, I'm still learning things about Catherine." Now I got all prepared and sat up straight. I'm ready to hear something real deep and profound. I'm like, "Really, Uncle T, what?" Because you know what? I never knew Catherine likes Mr. Goodbar, the candy. Do y'all get that though? Do you really get that? I mean, that when you talk about being comfortable and doing the chase. All of you who agreed, Cameron said it, and everybody agreed. Winter added to that as well. Everybody added to that. 4 parts is always important. And when for Uncle T to put out there that learning after 20 years of marriage, his wife liked a certain candy bar he never knew about, and that impressed him. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's one of the things that really stuck with me. I'm like, yeah, I want that foot massage, but remember, you better know what kind of candy bar I like, because that's what really counts, right? So I just wanted to make sure. Do you know him?
that
Have
is
you met him? Has Jayla met him, Kayla? Okay.
that is a long time to not know somebody's favorite candy, but that's all right. I'm sure he did he knew some other stuff about her. Hey, Rod, I know we're not going to get to all of the questions because of time. So which one you want to pick a good one to be the next one?
Ooh, that's a hard one. How about if we throw it out to our guests? Okay, we'll let you choose.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So the next comment, there's 3 other phrases that we were hoping to talk about. As Roxanne said, we're not going to have time to do all 3. But one was love versus like, and I'm going to come back to that. One is about cheating, and I will present that talking about as divorce and deal breaker kind of dynamics, or conceit versus confidence. And that kind of goes with our vulnerability and courageous type conversation. So maybe we address that somewhat by talking about vulnerability and being courageous. But it's up to you all. Who wants to choose? Love versus like? Oh, let me just say a little more about that before I ask you to even choose. So I was listening to a talk show, podcast actually. I was listening to a podcast, and it was there's all women, and they came up with the love versus like. It was 4 women, and the one woman says, "Well, once it falls to love for her, it doesn't matter about like, because she loves you now." And the other 3 women wore her out. They just could not understand that. Well, what do you mean that you got to like her? She said, "No." And I understood where she was coming from. Whether I agree or not, I understand where she was coming from. But I don't want to say too much because I want to leave it open for discussion if you all choose that one. But that was where that question actually came from. So I love birthdays. Whose birthday is closest to the day? Today is, I don't know, October. July. Jayla, when's your birthday?
April.
Oh, I should know that. April 6th. I should know that. What is yours, Winter?
September.
What'd you say?
September.
You get to choose. You're the closest
I want
birthday.
to choose.
Huh?
Okay, he picked love versus like.
Love versus like. All right.
I said she gave the background, so we might as well go with that one.
All right. Since we did the background, we'll go with love versus like. What do you all think about that? Once you're in the depths of love, does it matter? Do you still like that person? Do you need to like that person? What do you think about love versus like? Where do you go? Since you chose that, you go.
Okay. I think it's important to have both. I think that initially during the dating, you get attached and involved because you like the person, and then it graduates to love. But I think it's very, very important to still like the person. However, there are moments in marriage where you might not like what the person is doing. In love, you have to choose to love and to work through those issues. But I think it just makes a beautiful story, and it really does. It's attractive when you have both of those in a relationship.
Yeah, I think she hit on my answer in her answer, which is, to me, love is a choice. Like is not. So for me, I like what I like based on life experience, taste buds, right? My perspective, like what I like, I didn't choose to like. It just happened. I did not like Brussels sprouts. And then one day I woke up and I tasted them and I liked it. I didn't make a choice to start liking them. It just happened, right? Versus love, like that's a choice, because if you really understand what love is, it's patient, it's kind, it keeps no record of wrongs, right? It's long suffering, all these different things. All of those are personal choices you yourself have to make, and you can choose to make it or you can choose not to. So to me, like is out of our control. But yeah, it's a feeling, it's emotionally driven, it's out of our control. But love is a choice. So I think that if you're asking like which one is more important, I would say love, because you're choosing that. You're choosing that in whatever relationship we're talking about. So
That's funny because what'd you say?
I had to just say law on that for a minute. Thinking of love as a choice and that being a difference. I want to just take a minute and let that sit. So, wow. Thank you.
Yeah, because I looked at it differently, but not just from an intimate partner relationship, but relationships, period. I shared when we talked about it, that there's a family member that I love, but I don't like. And that's because of this person's personality, but I still love the person. So I guess it's kind of like the opposite. I feel like I not have to love this person, but I naturally love this person, but I don't like the person. It's weird. I don't know.
I mean, I think what you said just kind of further solidifies what we just talked about. Like, I don't think that when we start talking about love in its purest form, it is not natural. It's not natural. Right? Our human nature wants to do something complete. Our human nature is selfish by nature.
Okay.
And take self-preserve, take care of yourself, protect yourself. So love in its purest form is literally the complete opposite of all the things that come natural. So you love your family member because you made that choice. You made the choice that you're my family, so I love you. Period. Now their behavior or their countenance or whatever it is that rubs you the wrong way, you don't like it, right? But you've made the choice that you're going to love them.
Okay. Okay, Cameron. I'll accept that.
Did he get the thumbs up for that?
Yes, he did. A good one. Yeah, he gets 2 thumbs up. That's right.
That's what he gave himself. Okay, lot to think about. Remember, and as a reminder to our audiences, we're not talking right or wrong. We're talking about what we feel, what we believe, and yeah, we're not talking about something is scientific or necessarily research. It's maybe your empirical research, what's based on your own life and your own life experiences, which has been brought up earlier. So again, just throw it out to our audience. Shoot us an email. Roxanne's going to give you our email address at the end of our evening, at the end of this podcast. So if you're traditional like me, get a pen ready so you can write it down. Or if you prefer, grab your phone so that you can record it and put it in your phone. Either way, make sure you get our email addresses. Shoot us an email. Let us know, what do you think? Is love a choice for you? Or do you feel like you have to love somebody? Is it mandatory that you love certain family members? Do you always love your spouse? Do you have to? Do you always have to like your spouse? What's more important? Kayla, chime in on this for us.
Yeah.
And first, answer correctly, too.
Excuse me?
Answer correctly.
All love. He meant that with all love. It did.
That is hilarious.
This is interesting. This question came up in my psychology class, and it was posed, do you have to have one to have the other, right? Do you have to have like in order to love someone, or do you have to have love in order to like someone? And so we had to have like a written assignment on this, right? Which I thought was really interesting. And to be honest, I don't remember my answer, but I know what my empirical answer, what life has taught me is, I like expensive stuff. It's really every time I actually get irritated, I'll scroll and I'll be like, dang, that's so nice. It is literally the most expensive thing on this page. I'll go in the store it just happens. I don't say, what's the most expensive thing on here? Get me that. No, I likely can't. It's not in my budget at that time. So, it's a thing. It just like can't, it's just it's what you long after for whatever reason. It's what you're drawn to. Right. And so, and there's a whole study of that, of why people are drawn to certain things, certain smells. They even say that the chemistry between two people is an attraction of their smell. Right. And so there's a thing that is in us chemically and sometimes probably even biologically that we're attracted to what we like. Right. And so that is more of a hands off approach to things. Right. It just kind of happens. You taste something, you're like, I feel that based off of communicative things, experiences. But love is something where sometimes it kind of people think, oh, I fell in love. And you shouldn't have fallen. You should know where you're going. Like, pay attention, get your head straight, right? You choose that, right? Because it's a real thing where you're saying you love someone because you're saying that you're choosing them over yourself. And in this society where, oh my gosh, I love that so much. And we're loving people's pictures on Facebook and Instagram. And it really does desensitize the true meaning of the word. And we always need to make sure we're getting back to the essence of that. Like, what does that really mean when we're doing that? And of course, if you like someone's picture, I'm not saying you got to be that deep with it, but I'm just saying when that is always around us, we can often sometimes not remember what we're truly saying when we love someone. So I'm not one to go around, I love y'all, love you, because it's just likely not true. And that even proves the fact that you're not that you don't love them because you're not really being forthcoming with them. And you could have that desire, but are you really choosing to love? If they really call you in a situation that makes you have to sacrifice your time, your money, your resources, are you doing that in every sense? And it's something that I'm striving to, because I recognize in my life that I often would say that I love people, but I really wasn't choosing that in the true essence of what love means. And so it's been an area that truly my marriage has helped me to really understand at a way different level. Like we say we live and love our family members and parents, but it's kind of something you're taught, right? When you're baby, I love you, say you love your mom, say you love your dad, say you love your brother, but we're not really taught how to exercise the muscle that really takes in us to love. Because as my brother Cameron said, like, it's not natural. So it goes beyond what our flesh does. So when we're teaching children about love and we're teaching people about love and we're understanding love, we need to understand the muscle that it takes to truly love people. So I think it's a choice. And I think that in relationships, marriage, friendships, family dynamics, you have the choice to like them. You have the choice to love them, and to like them is something that you're drawn to. And I think it's a choice as well. You can see beyond those things, but I think love goes beyond that, right? Love goes beyond liking something. It goes beyond that. It's an action. It is a muscle that has to be worked and exercised like any other muscle in our body. Where love is like, or what like is like, yeah, this is just what I gravitate towards, but I'm actually actively choosing to love beyond what I actually feel. And that's where it gets deep and difficult for real, for real.
Wow.
Amen. Did she answer it right? Because you told her she got to get it right.
She did. It's fantastic. Y'all on point. I'm serious. I'm like, dang, I really don't even feel like I want to say anything because I'm like, yeah, yep, everything you're saying is good. I'm like, yep.
All righty. Hey, wow. Taylor, speaking of love and like, I love when you flash that sleeve. I love that sleeve. Go ahead, flash it one more time. That's right. I said I love and I like it. I don't know. I guess I come across the both.
I don't know anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm confused now. What do I like? What do I love? That
is cute.
It's funny because my brother, Kayla knows him pretty well too, but my brother, who happens to be Kayla's dad, my brother, when I went to get my vehicle that I have right now, after we test drove it, I came back and I'm like, yep, I want that. I love it. Yeah, I want that one. He's like, oh, Rhonda, you don't love things. You love God. You don't love things. I'm like, okay, I think we like that car. I really like it. So, I guess, and it's so funny because sometimes people say things, and I mean, he said that. Now, I have really paid attention to things that I say I love, because I love some shoes. Take me into, I got to the Macy's tonight, matter of fact. But Actually, I'll go in the store and be like, oh, I love those shoes. I got to have them. So sometimes I think I'll make it an I statement. Oh, and as well as I know people in general oftentimes use the word love haphazardly, not giving it a lot of thought. So when you bring it to this level of the conversation that we're having, when we're talking about it being between partners, when we're talking about spouse, when we're talking about couples or family members, I think it does bear a lot more thought into, do I really love this person by choice? Or do I love this person because I was taught to love them? Or do I love this person out of guilt? Because I would feel guilty if I didn't say I love and you can fill in the blank, my sister, my cousin, my dad, is it out of guilt? So therefore I say I love this person. So I think that is some very good food for thought from all of you for sure. So some of the things that I heard in there though for sure was that like is what it is. You like it, Brussels sprouts, you like them or you don't. It's no big deal, But once you grow to love something, it is a choice. So we choose to love or not to love. I think that's very powerful because it also gives us permission to not love. And sometimes we have to take that. Again, in all the depths and purpose of our podcast is to always remember that there are people in relationships right now where they are forced to say they love. They're forced to say it on a regular basis. They're forced to say it after a very traumatic, abusive assault. A lot of people use the word incident. I'm going to use the word incident when I'm saying abuse. An abusive incident. No, that's not an incident. That's an assault. So some people are forced to say they love, So I think it is wonderful to be able to give some real thought to, I get to choose to love you, because I know for survivors and thrivers out of intimate, violent relationships, once they are thriving and can choose to love or to not love, it's such a freedom. So thank you so much for bringing that into the conversation for sure. Want to go back to Kayla? I like that. You should not fall in love. You should know your direction. Know where you're going. Don't
good.
trip and fall. I really like that for sure. And that love goes beyond. So I think that is very important for as well. Some of the other things we talked about, Winter, thank you so much for reminding us that commitment is always about growth. So once I commit to you, we need to continue to grow in this friendship or in this relationship, because now, Winter also said, once we have made the commitment, and I didn't quite hear, did you say it is contractual or now it's not? It's commitment.
It's
higher
not
than
contractual. Yeah, it's not contractual.
I thought that's what you said. It's some more contractual. Now it is commitment, is growth. And then I think everyone said and or agreed to some degree when Cameron mentioned that commitment is work. You have to really work that once you get in that phase. However, it's also healthy. I love the fact that you brought into it that it is also healthy when you have that commitment as well. So I like the fact that also that chase is important, but comfort is comfort. It's like when I can be vulnerable enough to let you see me naked emotionally. I love that, Jalen. When you can see me naked emotionally, and now we're there. We're really there. So thank you all. I'm gonna turn it back over to Roxanne, but Cameron, Winter, Kayla, Jalen, and that's how you all come across on my camera. Thank you so much for agreeing to being our guest on our podcast this evening. We have had several guests that we say we're going to invite back. I think we'll invite you back at some point as well. Not I think, I'm sure we're going to want you all to come back because you all gave this some very credible from your heart. That's what I mean by credible here. We weren't looking for statistics and research. So you were very credible and very honest. So thank you again. And Kayla, I love you all. But y'all know that already.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're recruiting for a private group of women who have experienced domestic violence and sexual assaults. And I can see you guys, all of you, but in particular, I could see a session with you guys, with the men, talking to the ladies in this private group. because this is women who've been hurt and scarred, whatever. And they need to know that there are positive thinking males out here and there's hope for them. Okay. So you'll be hearing from me about that, because I really want you guys, it's just going to be, it'll be made probably a Zoom session and just having some open dialogue like we're doing right now, and they'll be able to ask you questions and stuff like that. So and also I need to let you know that I made a mistake in last week's episode. I said that because the last Thursday of the month we do a Zoom, a live podcast, and I inadvertently said that all of our podcasts are audio except for the live one. They're all on YouTube. You can see all of our podcasts. You can listen to them on all of, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, all of the platforms, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel, which is either Women Against Abusive Relationships or War Heals, WAARHEALS. You'll be able to check it out, because it's like when Rhonda was talking about Kayla's sweater. It would be nice if you guys go back and watch it, because the sweater is sharp, I must say. The color and everything, So, and if you have any questions for us, or if you want to, like Rhonda said, if you want to share with us what your love verse is like or what that means to you, our email address is info@warheals.org, and that's info@WAARHEALS.org. And I kind of think that's it. So again, our podcast is aired every Thursday at 5 p.m. What was you going to say, honey?
You forgot to ask them if they have anything they want to promote.
Oh, okay, pause. You guys got anything you want to promote? Any services or products that you have that you would like the world to know about? Because I'm all about promoting folks and their entrepreneur. I love, and can I just say real quick too? So I've known Winter since she was like, I met her when she was like 16 or 17 years old. I had created a teen dating advisory committee, and she was in a summer program at Duquesne University. And my job, we went there to talk to the youth about relationships. And I asked the group at the end, I said, would you guys be interested in becoming a part of a teen dating violence advisory committee? And the whole class raised their hand. I was floored. And I must say that Winter was one of my favorites. So anyway, she was just such a nice young lady, and she still is. So I'm just proud to see her growth. It was a nursing program, and she is a nurse now. And what else do you have going on?
I have a doula business called Masters of Maternity. It's a doula directory here in PA, and we're hoping to branch out to all 50 states eventually. Also have a holistic product line called Root Cures, and Commonwealth. What is it? Commonwealth?
C&W.
Yeah, C&W Commonwealth, which is really big on just wholeness in general. But our first phase is focusing on marriage and relationships and making sure that that's a foundation within the household.
Well, now you got to give me all the ways to reach you, or for the people to reach you. All the websites and all. Actually, put them in. Can you put them in the chat?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, put that in the chat for me, or so that I can share that. But still say it out loud so we can know so folks can know how to reach you.
Okay. So it's Masters. So MASTERS of maternity. MATER. Wait. NITY.com, rootcures.com, or no, I'm lying. It's Etsy.rootcures.com. My store is on a platform called Etsy, and then CameronandWinter.com. So several websites to reach me.
Perfect. I love it. I love entrepreneurship, man. I tell you. You, Kayla, and you guys have anything going on?
Not of yet, but definitely stay tuned. We are newly married. We have a bunch of things that we are working on, and so great things take a process and take their time. So we're taking our time with it, but we do have some things in the work.
And make sure you let us know, because we will definitely promote you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So was that it, Rhonda? I gave everybody our contact information. And info@warheals.org. Phone number 412-301-7662. I'm excited about our Healing Space Warriors that's coming up. So hopefully, if you're interested in it, if you self-identify as one who has experienced dating, domestic violence or sexual assault, we want you to be a member. And if you are interested in helping people get through that process, get to the healing stage in their life, we also want you to be a part of the process. Like these couples are going to be, I've already recruited them. I got my wheels are turning. So anyway, now we'll do our little closing, Rhonda.
Ready?
And again, thank you guys. And Rhonda and I just want you to know that we
got
your back. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
There are two things we would like you to do. Number one, enter our monthly drawing by sending your email address to info@warheals.org. Spelled out, that is info@WARHEALS.org. Put drawing in the subject line. We will notify the winner or winners via email by midnight on the last Thursday of each month. Our second request, engage with us on IG. Follow, like, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms at warheals_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. WAARHEALS_ on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. As always, we thank you for listening and see you next week.